Hello everyone, and welcome to a little whimsy for the holidays. Today we are going to make a simple stuffed tree. I've started calling these lollipop trees because they kind of sit on a stick. All right, for this project we're going to need a fabric. I've selected this green on green stripe. This is a cotton flannel that's a print. So it's smooth on one side and flannel on the other. We are going to need a stick. I've selected one of those free chopsticks that come along with my food. For inside, we're going to need some wool or cotton or polyfill. You'll need a little base. I just have the inside of a ribbon spool that my stick fits in. Okay. And then I grabbed a little brown for the trunk of my tree, needle and thread, and a little bit of glue for my trunk. All right, so we're going to set a few things aside for a little bit. We won't need those quite yet. We will start with our bit of fabric. All right, you're not seeing a whole bunch of unfolding going on. All right, there we go. So I really only need a little bit of this. Now I'm going to fold this over a little and then one more fold. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so I've got a fold here and a fold here, okay? So now I have 4 layers, all right? And I'm going to use a pencil or other writing utensil, and I'm actually going to use my stick as a straight edge. And I'm just going to freehand this. Okay, I'm going to draw a triangle first to get the general idea of the size of the tree that I want. Okay. And so that's about what? 2/3, 3/4 of the length of my stick. Stick doesn't have to go in there all the way. Now you can leave this as a simple triangle, or you could make those little leaves, whatever, I don't know, what do we call these? Bows, boughs of the pine tree. All those extra little angles. Just kind of following that line. Now just keep in mind, the more of these you draw, the more you have to sew and cut. All right, so I think I'm going to have this guy go like that. There we go. Now here's the catch. I'm considering this my sewing line, okay, rather than my cutting line. So I'm going to cut up, giving myself plenty of seam allowance. Now here, this is admittedly one of my quirky little tricks that I do. I figured this out with the Clara's Friends. I'm rough cutting this. See, I'm not cutting anywhere near the line. And then I'm going to unfold it. And I'm having a moment's pause because I'm realizing I have to transfer this over to the other side. This is the challenge of doing this live, right? All right, we're going to unfold. Let me get this guy back out. We're going to do this. All right, so here's our bottom. Our bottom. We're totally real here. And this is going to make a fat tree. Let's be real. He's going to be a fat tree. So here's our little guideline. We know this one's here. This one's here. I'm just lining this up with my horizontal lines, okay? And then I'm just going to draw my diagonals back in. And the great thing is, no tree is really symmetrical. So it's fine. But it is one big tree. You could, of course, do, camera shakeage. I'm sorry about that. I was going to say you can, of course, do a skinnier tree if you wish. All right. I did make my lines vertical. You have lines. Doesn't matter which way they go. How you want them. All right. Time for some thread. Now, you might ask, double thread, single thread. I usually sew single thread. I tend to be a very tight sewer and small stitcher. I also like to use a back stitch on occasion. So a single thread does just fine. If you are not as confident in your stitches, it is perfectly okay to go ahead and double your thread. All right. Now I'm going to sew around the perimeter, but I'm going to leave a section here. So like between my fingers, I'm going to leave that. All right. I'm just going to get started. This is just going to be a basic running stitch with the occasional back stitch. And the reason I do that is it's quick, but then that little jump of a back stitch ensures that it's not going to snag and pull. There we go. And you'll just zip along. Now, at each of those little points, that would be a spot where I would consider doing a back stitch. One at the base, or that horizontal line. And then watch this, turn a little. And one at the diagonal. And look how nifty of a corner that gives you. Now, of course, it has me running in the opposite direction. So if you like doing a back stitch, keep on going. Otherwise, turn and run up the diagonal. All right. So I am working on making sure my camera is over my hands. I angled it a little bit better. But I am definitely seeing it's got her shake on. She's shaking away. It is a combination of my antique table and the long gooseneck. Compliments to In Swan for a very portable machine. Oh, here we're going to do that double back stitch. One that way, come over your angle, one this way. All right. Turn and run. Now you only have to run a couple stitches here, and we'll get to see that back stitch again. Okay, coming out to the end of the tree. I went a little further, which is fine. There's my first back stitch. Turn at an angle. And two back stitches here. Makes that point nice and strong, and we turn and go. All right. So I'm just going to keep on sewing here. We'll likely hit high speed in a moment. Running a few stitches and then a back stitch. Oh, but before I get going, I'm going to tell you about another tree adventure. So I bought this lovely green flannel over at my favorite quilt shop, Chestnut Bay. And I was going to get a little bit. And then I got a lot of it. I got, well, not a lot, crafty a lot. Not sewing dresses a lot. A whole yard. Make a lot out of a whole yard. And so last night, I was looking at the yard and thinking about how nice this flannel is. And I'm loving the color on this. I've been in a green mood this week, I think. I'm working on green straw, too. And I'm like, I can make a tree out of that, fanciful utility style. Now, for those of you that don't know, I have a little book called Fanciful Utility, and it looks at Victorian sewing cases. And one of the techniques that's used a lot in the book is covering pasteboard. So I love to take the technique of covering pasteboard and using it for different things, especially decorative things. Now you've seen my covered pasteboard hearts and probably the birds. I can do a tree. Well, let me tell you. Did I do a tree? I decided I wanted to do a tree the full size of the paper. Not paper, pasteboard. So I cut myself out 4 pairs, which means 8 tree halves, and the fabric to go with. And I started covering them. Well, covering a full sheet of pasteboard is a lot bigger than what you need for a Victorian sewing case. And somewhere along the first tree half, I realized, this is going to take a long time. Initially, I thought, I'll do this on video. As you could tell, we're not doing it on video because I learned, like I said, going to take a long time. Decided it was far too much to try to do on a video. I might write up a little tutorial on how to do it because it's very doable. The concept isn't big. It's the execution. It is the layering and getting all the clips on and sewing around the perimeter of the tree. So in the end, I was originally going to make 4 halves, but in the end, I made 3. All right, so pause my story a second. I am doing a couple sets of back stitches up here at the top of our tree. That's to make sure we don't have any bursting through of the seams. And then I'm turning and going to work my way down. All right, so last night's tree. I got 3 halves made. So my tree folds out like a book and has the 3 sides of the tree. So it's definitely a wall or corner decoration at this point. I do have the 4th one ready to go. I will grab a photo of it and I'll include it in the blog post. So you can get a closer look at that. I think it's cute. I really do. It's just a matter of, it took me 2 Hallmark movies. Yes, we're counting in Hallmark movies to get 3 sides done. Now, can you imagine me trying to do that on camera? Now, of course, I would do just one, but just one, showing you and talking to you about how to do it, probably would run an hour. And I don't imagine you want to sit and listen to me for a whole hour. I don't blame you. Even with fast forward, I think it would still end up being a very, very long video. So I'll take some photos. I'll show you how I did it in a separate post. The post will be over on Don't Paint the Cat, I think. Yeah, if I do it, it'll be over on Don't Paint the Cat. And you can make your own if you wish. I suggest smaller. All right. So, working my way down. I'll just finish up this side. Okay, so we've reached the bottom of the tree. Remember, we're just coming in part way so that we have a spot to turn our tree right side out and stuff it. Leave about that much space. Tie off a little. Snip. Okay, so now we can go through and trim this up. And I am still rough cutting my points, but I'm going to come back and trim those. And I am hearing that my cotton scissors might need sharpening. Yeah, I don't like how the tips are. There's a couple spots there. They're acting up. Yes, in this house there are not just fabric scissors and paper scissors. There are straw scissors. And I'm coming all the way in to just about 1 millimeter from my stitch lines here. All right, so that'll make some turning points. And then I'll come back and trim off some bulk. Yeah, there's straw scissors, paper scissors. Then I have separate scissors for my cotton and wool. And then my silk scissors are separate. Which means we shouldn't have challenges like this. My scissors getting dull this quick. And then again, these scissors have done quite a lot of cutting since the pandemic. Lots of little snips. All right, give you an idea here. Oh, that's right. On this camera, we're going like this. All right. I'm realizing, let's play with this a little. Up. Waddle, waddle. Down, waddle, waddle. Oh, I don't like that close. That's better. The tree fits. Okay, so let's turn her right side out. So I like to run my fingers inside. Grab, pinch. Then my thumb pushes through. Make my thumbs and fingers do their work. I just popped a thread there, which is fine because I'm rushing. All right, we're going to use our scissors. Coax our tree points out. Okay. So much of this is by feel. These guys are going to be little. All right. Come on, little tree. All right, I need a pointy or pointy. There we go. Yeah, a little pointy or pointy. Get this part out first. Come on. It's always good to talk to your fabric, encourage it to do what you need. Got a little cloggy going on this side. Go back and pick that a little. Okay, there we go. I'm going to grab this stick. I'm trying to push these in a little more. And it looks like that one branch of the tree, one bough of the tree, is going to give me the opportunity of showing you how to fix where the fabric pulls through. I must not have been patient enough. There we go. I got a little white showing there. All right, so polyfill. I like to push the polyfill up with my fingers first, little bits into the top of the tree, and then if need be, push with a stick or a purple thing if you have it, or the tops of your scissors. Get into those boughs. So I'm doing little pinches and then using my fingers. Just keep going. Now, I like things firm. You can tell that firm makes things shake. Try not to do too much more of that, sorry. So I'm kind of curling my finger in like this into the boughs. Let me turn them over. Do it again. It kind of tucks it in there to that spot. Don't worry, I've got more. I wasn't sure how much this one was going to take. As you can see, the more we stuff, well, the more this wants to open up where I oopsed. Which is fine, we can fix that. Like I said, we're totally real here. So when we have oopses, we share them. All right, so we're stuffed about that much, okay? Now it's time for our stick. Now I'm going to put the pointy part up to give me as much like flat base at the bottom as possible. All right, and once that's in, I'm going to stuff a little more. Okay. And I think because of this opening down here, I am going to sew a little bit and then stuff a little more. You know that thing I just said about oopses? So apparently, I misplaced the needle and thread. I put it right here. And then I grabbed this. It's gone. Which means when I get done with this video, I am going to have to be on my hands and knees to make sure 30 minutes. Little Miss doesn't find it. I gotta get enough. Okay. So I am going to come in here just past where everything started to come undone. And I am just going to whip stitch this closed for a couple inches. Well, maybe 1.5 inches. And I have a snag. So this is what happens. I misplace thread, something like that. It upsets me, it throws me off, and then I start snagging things. I know I need to do this part first, eh? Or even snagging those. All right. Now that we got that closed a little, I'm gonna use the stick. Push the batting down in. And keep going. Now you may want to mark the center point so you know where you want your stick to sit. Okay. So for us, it's going to be like right there. Go ahead and like pin it or use a clip if you want. At this point, do I want to add any more? This is me. I'm going to add just a little bit more. Can't not. This is how I end up getting teeter-tottery kitties. Super stuff them. There we go. All right. As you can tell, it's getting kind of loose there. I kind of have to hold it with my finger. So I'm going to do kind of like a lock here on one side of the stick. Okay. And then I'm going to come over the other side of the stick where I'm going to do the same. See how that holds? Just keep going till it's closed. And I'll lock it again as a knot and come back up through the side. And snip. Okay. I've got to remember this is the direction. Let's put the pin over here. Keep squishing it, expecting to feel that needle. No, not so much. All right. So then our base is going to go on here. Yeah, we can do that. There we go. Kind of like that. So we're going to take our base and some fabric. And luckily that lines up with that blue line. Yay, need something to go right. All right, we're just going to cut a straight line. This is going to wrap around our little base, though I am tempted just to leave it wood. It's actually kind of cute, just wooden. I might just do that. All right, so what I would do is I would sew this on around here like that. Just whip stitch that on, trim it and whip stitch it. I don't know which I like better. It's a tough one. All right. We will do this. I actually kind of think we could do that. All right. Now if you need to, you can glue your fabric down. My fabric seems to be sticking nicely, which is good because when I looked for the needle, no idea where I put the glue stick. Alright, so I'm just going to whip this down, and because of the type of material I have, I don't have to turn my edge under. You can if you need to, of course. Get this as tight as possible. There we go. Alright, nice and even there. I'm going to trim up the top a little. And I want to do a circle at the top. Just centering this. Get my thread out of the way. The reason I'm cutting this after is because the wool is just thick enough that it'll make a difference in the diameter that I need. I actually think I'm cutting this a little too tight. Okay. I'm just going to hold that in place. And catch, hope this works, both edges of the wool. And at this point, my thread has kind of doubled up on itself. I'm just going to keep going. Maybe that tree really wants to get in its stand. All right, with the other things that have gone awry tonight, including things that have been edited out. Don't edit often, but still keeping it real. But I'm waiting for something to go wrong with the editing or the upload. All right, here we go. Whipped all the way around. Makes for the cutest little edge. I think that makes for a cute edge. At this point, there's just enough thread. I want to take the opportunity to finish each of my whip stitches here by making them X's. I like the look of that. I'm just going back over the stitches that I put in before. And the cool thing is it does even tighten it up more. Okay. That brings us to where we were. And just knot this off. Ta-da! I'm going to stick our stick here, and I'm realizing I did not bring, there it is, good. Did not put the awl on the list, so awl or stiletto. Okay, you're going to need that to create your hole. Please don't hurt yourself. Okay, there's my hole. Might need a bigger one. Here's our pokey stick from earlier. We have a large number of things that put holes and stuff. Pencil. There we go. Ta-da! There it goes. Let me move these out of the way. All right. It's a little tipsy. Okay, not that you can see it from that angle. All right, I will take a picture. You can see what it looks like finished. I might put another layer on the bottom. I don't know. You can glue a little bit in there if you wish. But there's your little tree. All right, thank you all for joining me today. I hope you got a few laughs out of my oopses and oohs. And I will come up with hopefully at least one more project during December. I have a very, very busy December ahead, and it'll be fun. It's a fun, busy December. Snip the threads, Anna. And I'm looking forward to that. All right, enjoy. Thank you all.